Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, depending on where you are in the country. Uh, my name is Andy Phelps. I'm the national trainer for Alarm Lock and Marks USA. As you can see by the screen, um, there are four divisions within NAPCO Security Technologies. I'm the trainer for two of those divisions. So, um, what we're going to be talking about this morning, well, before we get started with that, I do ask that everyone mute your microphone. I will give you opportunities throughout the presentation to ask questions. There are three ways that you can ask a question. You can raise your hand and unmute yourself so you can ask the question verbally. There is a chat section and a Q&A section. I will say that I can see the hand raises and I can see the chat. The Q&A, I have to go back and forth to a different screen to see. So if you could use the chat or raise your hand if you have a question, I'll get those answered. I do ask that, there's probably going to be a lot of questions. I will probably cover everything. If there's a specific question that you have that I don't answer on a specific section of the presentation, please, I do ask that you wait until the end, or when I ask if there are any questions. That will keep everything rolling along smoothly. Okay, so first off, I want to go through a few PowerPoint slides, just kind of introduce you to MVP Access. This is our latest cloud software that we have for some of our locking platforms. So first thing is, what exactly is MVP? MVP is a cloud-based version of Continental Access CA4K. This is their enterprise access control software. It works with multiple locks, wireless locks, as well as some wired panels and readers. So if you are a security professional, you can purchase those panels and locks through distribution. I'm going to go through the different panels that we have and the different lock models that we have, for this platform. All of the Networx locks. So if you happen to be with me yesterday, or if you're familiar with the Alarm Lock Trilogy and Architect Networx locks, we can use all of those in this platform. So if you are using DL Windows, which is a lock management software, and you want to move over to an enterprise level platform, we can do that with the same locks that you have, or possibly even the same gateways that you have. This platform only works with the Generation 3 gateways. Those are the only ones we're making now, but if you have an older DL Windows network system that maybe has a Generation 1 or Generation 2 gateways, you would have to upgrade those gateways. But it's the same hardware. Okay, so it's just a simple move over. When you move it over from DL Windows to MVP Access, the system, the platform will actually upgrade the firmware in the locks for you, so you don't have to worry about doing that separately. We do have video integration with MVP Access. So if you do have a VMS, we can work with some of them out there. I do ask that you check with your local Alarm Lock, Marks USA, or NAPCO Access Pro rep, and they can inform you of the different VMS platforms that we can use. It is a low cost per door / reader and cost per camera that you want to connect. In the webinar, I don't talk about the dollar amount. Check with your rep. They'll be able to tell you what that dollar amount is. This is a paid service. Okay, so it is a hosted platform. There is a cost per door / reader that you put onto the system. So the dealers would be the ones, the security professionals, the locking professionals, They're the ones that are registered with us to be a dealer. And then it is, they're the ones that actually manage the system for their customer. And the customer can also have access to the system. So we'll go through all of that here in a little bit. Okay. So a lot of people ask, well, why would I want to take my on-premise software to the cloud and pay a fee? Well, number one, the fee is, as I mentioned, it's a low cost, lower than most everyone else on the market at the moment. But the biggest thing is you don't have to worry about having a computer on site. Okay. Um, so with no computer on site, you don't have to worry about those computer updates. So if you've been with us on the Alarm Lock side for a while using DL Windows, you've probably run into an issue where you've had um, the computer, the system updated from, whatever version of Windows software to another version, and it may have caused a problem with our software. So now you don't have to worry about that. Uh, the other thing is you don't have to have the IT personnel to maintain your computer system, okay? Because it's hosted, everything's on the cloud. We manage it, and all the updates, if we make an update to the system, it is automatically sent, you automatically get those updates. The big thing for most IT personnel and IT departments is if you want to manage the system from off-site, they have to open ports, which they don't like to do. Okay. So there's no inbound ports that they have to open. Yes, there is outbound traffic, but it is, they usually don't, secure the outbound traffic. It's the inbound traffic that they don't want to open ports for. One central location for your managed security. So you can have different people log in. So you can have, if you've got security personnel on site that sit in a room and watch all the cameras, they can have the platform up. It is real-time reporting. There is real-time events, so they can have the screen open for the events and see them as they roll in. They don't have to worry about going from one platform to another to watch the cameras, to watch the security side of it. Of course, the biggest thing that we have with DL Windows is the backups. Because DL Windows is on premise, it is on the computer. A lot of people put it on a laptop and they don't have a backup. It does back up to that local hard drive, but if that hard drive crashes, gets corrupted, you've lost your backup. So you don't have to worry about that. We have two actual servers that we utilize. The main one is in New York at our headquarters, and the other one is in Philadelphia. They're on different power grids. So if New York goes down, it automatically changes over to the backup. So what all does MVP Access do? Okay. If you can imagine an enterprise system, maybe that you've ever worked with, we can do pretty much all of that. We do have lockdowns and threat levels. Okay. So if you're not familiar with the difference, lockdown, if you issue a lockdown, it just locks doors that are in an unlocked mode, in a passage mode or unlocked. Anyone with a valid credential for that particular door can go through the door. So you might call that a soft lockdown. Okay. And then if you want to call a hard lockdown, the threat level, that added that extra layer to it, to where now you determine who is able to go through all of the doors, when you go into that threat level. So if we have a lockdown and then we need to go into that threat level, we can activate that separately, or we can activate the threat level and it does both the lockdown and the threat level. Okay. We do have text and email alerts. That is huge for Alarm Lock. We've never had that capability before. So what I mean by this is anyone that you designate or that is designated as, someone who needs to get the text or the email can get notifications when the batteries go low on a battery operated lock. When a door is propped open, a door may be forced open, or pretty much anything else that you want to do. There's a long list of items that you can have sent by text or email for this. We also have a couple of different mobile apps. Okay, we have an MVP Access app. Okay, so this app will allow you to designate, doors. The person would have to log into the app and be able, to get to the doors that they are assigned to, and then be able to use the app to unlock the doors. That is not Bluetooth. Okay, so that it's not near field. It goes through the cloud to the gateway and then to the lock. So we're manually unlocking the door, but again, you have to have access to that door. Now, for the locks that have Bluetooth capabilities, whether it be a panel with a Bluetooth reader or one of our architect locks that has Bluetooth in it, then we have an app that's called iLock. So iLock for MVP. So this app, you open up the app and then you scroll through, find the door you want to open, and you touch it. And again, you have to be on premise to do that because it is Bluetooth. With the MVP Access mobile app, you don't have to be on premise. Okay, you can be anywhere that you want to be, and you can unlock a door. But what we do have, because that could be an issue, we do have geofencing. Okay, so if you're not familiar with geofencing, it just basically means you set up a perimeter around that building, a virtual perimeter, and if your phone is not in that perimeter, you cannot unlock a specific door. Not all the doors have to be geofenced. You can set them up individually. Okay. So it is a very versatile software, cloud software, and it works very well. So some of our hardware that we can use if you are and I thought I'd fix this, if you are a Continental dealer, then our Continental panels, the 2100, the 1300, and the 2800, those can be converted to work with the cloud. And I had changed this, and I don't know why it didn't save, but we do have two new panels, and these numbers are wrong. It is an NA1 and an NA2. Okay. The NA1 and NA2 are cloud ready. They are a single door and a two-door panel that you can use with mag locks, electric strikes, electrified hardware. Again, you can use all of the Networx locks that we have, our architects, which are the two that you see on the mounts, and we have all of our Trilogy Networx locks, the cylindrical mortise exit trim, the double-sided, the privacies, the Nara style. So we have all of those models, and all of those are weatherized. The architect locks are not weatherized. The electronics part is not weatherized. So we don't recommend putting those on outside gates. They're more for interior or maybe an exterior door with an awning or something, because if the electronics get wet, you could ruin the lock. But all of the Trilogy locks are weatherized. Of course, we also have our net panel, okay, which is the one on the left. That net panel is a single door controller. It is wireless, so it would talk to the gateway. So if you have a door that is a little bit farther away from where you need to put a panel, then you can put this panel on and it'll talk wirelessly to the gateway. It still utilizes the electric strikes, the mag locks, electrified hardware, uses standard Wiegand readers. Okay, so if you are used to using the net panel with a lock that has a reader that looks like the Trilogy lock, you cannot use that reader. You have to use a standard Wiegand reader, which we do have several options available. But that allows you to convert that lock from whatever system it was to the MVP access. Okay. So we're going to talk about some of the one other system that we have that goes along with MVP in just a few minutes. Okay. So I want to go over here to the cloud. Okay. So once you get registered as a dealer, then you'll be able to set up a system for your customers. If you're an end user, your dealer sets it up, and then you will get emailed your credentials to be able to log into this website. So you have an account number, a username, and a password. Okay. So once you log in, if you're a dealer, you will see all of your customers listed here. So I'm going to log in as my customer. Okay. And customers, you will see, you will just go right into the dashboard when you log in. So you can see the dashboard. It's really nice. It has a lot of information here. The main thing, especially for the dealers, end users as well, that you want to pay attention to when you come to the dashboard is the lock and panel status. So as you can see, I have 8 locks, but 5 are disconnected. Okay. That means that I have 5 wireless locks that are not communicating with the gateway. So I have to figure out why. Okay, so I can go in, click on the little icon here next to the panel lock status, and I can go straight to that. And I can actually look at my locks. I can see which ones are working, which ones are not working by clicking on the wireless. I've got 3 gateways here, and I have 5 locks on this one. It shows that they're secure, but they're not, okay? Because these are the 5 that are offline. I can also go over to configuration and wireless configuration and see the same information, okay? So there's my 5 doors. So if I refresh that gateway, then it would show that those 5 are offline, okay? So there is a lot of information here. If you get to um, if you get to this page, you see you have access, quick links, sorry, to personnel, to access groups and schedules. Yes, we do have access groups now for those that are used to the alarm lock. We have reports, a lot of different reports on events, personnel, and a whole lot more. You can see your lockdown control, your different lockdown areas and threat levels, your configuration of your COM ports, which are your gateways or your panels and locks configuration, your reader configuration. So there's a lot of information here. There's also other information. So we do have several documents that you can, have a quick link to for Continental controllers, NAPCO access controllers, wireless locks, getting started with the mobile link, and we'll talk about the mobile link in a little bit. But there's the one that you want to look at is the MVP access help. Okay, if you click there, it takes you to another web page that has everything. Okay, so this is your online help file. Okay, you can also go down to the bottom right-hand corner and click on the little question mark, and it'll open up the same thing. And what's nice about the little question mark is whatever page you're on. So if you're in access and personnel, which is where you would add all of your badges, your PIN numbers, and so forth, and you click on that question mark, it goes straight to that help file. Okay. Whereas on the big one, you'd have to go to access, personnel, and then you would see that here. Okay. So there's a couple ways that you can get to the help files. Now, I mentioned that we do have live events. Okay. So we do have our live events. As you can see, there's quite a list here. But if I scroll through, you see valid badges, duress. Yes, we do have duress with the system. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Doors forced open, doors propped open, held open. Whatever event occurs, that will show up here. Okay. Um, so there are a few steps that you would have to do to set something up. Number one, if you're using the wireless locks and the gateways, you would have to get the gateway online. And as I mentioned a minute ago, a gateway is considered a COM port. Okay, so I have three gateways here. There's a process you go through. It's not as difficult as you would think. If once the once you have the gateway in hand, if it is an alarm lock gateway, okay, it has alarm lock firmware in it, then you would have to use a different another program to update the firmware so you could use it with the cloud. But if it is an MVP specific gateway, all you have to do is click on add and then go in here, describe it, add it as a wireless gateway, put in the MAC address, change your time zone, and click save. That's it. Okay. You don't have to worry about static IP addresses. Doesn't matter. Okay. So you can have this gateway in another building across town. And then you've got more gateways in the building that you're in. Okay. Um, but so it doesn't matter. So basically what we do is with our cloud, that gateway calls home. It calls back to our cloud. The cloud says, "Yes, I recognize you. You are assigned to this account. You're good. Let's talk." Okay, that's basically what it does. So we don't have to worry about static IP addresses. Okay. And then you would have to set up your panels and locks, different configurations for that. Your readers, that's the reader on the lock itself or on the wall for the panel. And then you just go in and you edit it. Okay, so there's a few things with the wireless locks that you need to be aware of. Um, when you add a wireless lock in, of course, you have to put it into a partition. Okay, so anything you're going to use with the mobile app has to be in the mobile partition. So you would add that into that partition. But there's a few things here that we can do with this lock slash reader. We can actually turn off the beeper. Okay, if you don't want to hear the sounds, maybe it's a quiet area, you can turn off the beeps. We have what's called double read holds door unlocked. Okay. So if anybody that's familiar with that, basically you present your credential, your card has to be a card to the reader, once, and then a second later, read it again. It'll put the door into an unlock mode. Okay. This is a lock specific and badge specific feature. So I have to set the lock up for it, and then only certain individuals I designate as being able to do that. It's not everyone. Door control, the tab here, this is where you would set up your free access or your unlock schedule. There are a few schedules that are already created for you. You have your 24/7, which has to be there. You have weekdays, which is Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Weekends, which is Saturday and Sunday, 8 to 5. Please do not touch the 24/7. It has to be there. Okay. If you need something different than the weekdays or the weekends, yeah, you can adjust those. They're not critical. Okay. But the 24/7 always time schedule is critical. Um, if you are using a wireless lock that has a prox reader and a keypad, you must go under door control. And if you want to use the keypad, you must enable that keypad. Okay. When you enable the keypad, it automatically checks the box user badge number slash pin only. We'll get to that in a minute. So, but basically, we're putting in a badge number for someone. It could be a 4-digit number, but we're using it as a pin. Now, if you're using the lock as the using a pin number, it's not just 1, 2, 3, 4 and open the door. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 and then the AL button, which is the pound button. You have to hit the pound or AL button after you enter the pin number. Common code schedule. which allows you to use that pin pad, that number. Then you set up a schedule for it. Maybe you only want them to use their pin number during the day when everybody's on premise. At night, they have to use their card, okay, or whatever it is. Typically, if you're going to use pins, you're going to set it to 24/7. Okay, and you notice we have a card and pin schedule. So I've got mine set as 24/7. So with my badges and this particular lock, and I'm gonna switch over to my camera here real quick. This particular lock, I present my badge. You notice the green light flashing. I have to enter my PIN number, which is not working. Hmm, that's weird. It was working a minute ago. There we go. Okay. So I have to use PIN and badge, and that's everyone. Okay, that's not just one individual, that's everyone. So if you set up a card and pin schedule, everybody has to use card and pin. Okay, so the keypad settings is required if you're using the keypad. Okay, go to options, and we have a few options here. The main couple ones are the door strike time. Okay, so I can set that time up to where when a badge is presented, it is open for 3 seconds in this case. I can change it to 5 or whatever I want. That's everybody that uses that door. That lock is unlocked for that amount of time. For the wireless locks, the use emergency auxiliary LED bar. On the back of the locks, there is an LED bar. When you go into a lockdown or a threat level, if you want that light to flash like we can with the DO Windows and Networx, then we need to enable or check that box. Okay. I know some of you are probably looking at the APB control. APB stands for anti-passback. Okay. So we can use anti-passback in a couple different ways. One way is for anti-passback. Okay. We don't want, if I'm in the room, I go into the room, and this requires a reader on the inside and a reader on the outside. So I have to read in and then read out. Okay. So we do have counters. If the room occupancy rate, it's not supposed to be exceeded, we can set up the anti-passback and a counter to where when 20 people walk in, number 21 is not allowed entry until someone leaves. Okay. If the room rate is 20. That's one way we can use the anti-passback. The other way is with our um, geofencing. Okay. So there's a big process that you have to do to set up the geofence, and then you have to, do certain things. Don't have near enough time to go into that, how all that's done, but just understand that this is a door specific geofence. Okay. I can set up one geofence and put it on all the doors or just one door. Okay. Maybe you only want the exterior doors on a geofence. So if I'm off property, I can't let someone in the building. But if my office, just say my executive assistant or whatever, they need into my office, I can open that from wherever because it's not geofenced. Okay. Um, we do have under the DVR tab, this is where you would set up your cameras if you have cameras connected. You have your the different server name for your NVR. You have your camera that you want to pick, and then you have your different event time, pre and post. Enable DVR recording, how long, pan, tilt, zoom, all of that. So all of that is available for you. Okay. So setting up the reader, basic setup, um, you know, really all you would need to do is set your free access time schedule and your keypad settings if you're using that. Okay. Then, you have to have schedules created. If you're using any type of schedule, that's under administration here for schedules. So you can create your schedules. They're a little bit different if you're familiar with DL Windows. If you were with me yesterday in the Deal Windows webinar, I showed you that you have your time zone and you have your scheduled entry. So basically for MVP access, you have your time, you create your time zone. Okay. That's all you do under schedules. You create your time zone. Okay. So let's say I name this as, I don't know, we'll just say work week. I know there's one already in there. So I have to have a new block and I tell it what day from and what day to. So maybe this is Monday through Friday. We'll just make it a little bit different. Monday through Saturday. And then the work week, I just bump it up to 7 a.m. To 5 p.m. Okay. That's our normal work week, Monday through Saturday. Okay. So whatever I assign this schedule to, it's going to work. It's going to activate that schedule Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Well, let's say that this is instead of work week, custodial. Okay. So I have custodians that come in um, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, 3 days a week. So I would need to change this. I can't have Tuesday through from Tuesday to Saturday. That would include Wednesday and Friday. So I'd have to have Tuesday to Tuesday and their time, and then Thursday to Thursday. You see where I'm going here, and the time, and then Saturday to Saturday. What's wrong one? Okay, and then the time. So whatever times they're allowed in, it's only on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Okay, then I assign that to certain locks um, on in an access group. Okay, and then in that when I put someone into that access group, they're assigned to those doors with this time schedule. Okay. I'm sure some of you have probably seen or probably saw the HOL. Okay. So we do have a holiday calendar that you can create. It'll hold about 99 holidays, I believe it is, and it is a full calendar. Okay. So when I create that holiday calendar, I set it up for month, day, year, and time. Month, day, year, and time. Okay. So if I want a schedule, and this would be an example of a all access or all door, I'm sorry, an all days, all time schedule, 24/7, even during holidays. Okay, so it'd be Monday to holiday. If I had a situation where I don't want them to come in on holidays, but they still need 24/7 access when, when it's not a holiday. So I would just take the day two out and make it Monday to Sunday. Okay. So that's, how you create your, if you want to think of it as the DO Windows terms, your time zone. Okay. So you create your schedules, then you have your holidays. Again, um, here's an example of the holidays. So I've started in 2024. There's 2025, and then I've started January 1st, New Year's Day 26. Okay. So then I would just add a holiday, and it'll add a block there, and then I pick it off of the calendar. What I want you to be aware of, number one, is I did this in the beginning. The very far left column is not an actual day. Okay, it's the week number for that year. So let's say you observe Martin Luther King. So next year, it's on the 16th of February. And I leave my holidays midnight to midnight because I don't know what it's going to affect. If I put in a specific time, then it may, say I set it for, as I did here for Christmas Eve, I set it for 12 p.m. Well, 12 p.m., the holiday will start but we work a half a day on Christmas Eve. Okay, so your employees, are there from 8 to noon, and then at noon they can't come back in. Or, the door is open, it's unlocked from 8 to noon, and it locks at noon. The holiday overrides that unlock. Okay. But most of the time it's going to be midnight to midnight for your holidays. So once you get all of that set up, of course, you have to also set up your badge formats. Um, if you're not using something that we have automatically preset in here, then you would have to create your own. But we have the Continental badges, which are proprietary to NAPCO Access Pro. We have the Alarm Lock badges, which are the NAPCO Alarm Lock, which are proprietary to us. We have your basic HID 26-bit. We have a 35, a 31, and a 37. We've also created the mobile credential for the Bluetooth. We have corporate 1000, 48-bit. And then we have our new, which should be coming out fairly soon. We have our new MyFair credential. And again, this is proprietary to us. So if you don't want to use an HID to 125-bit card, which can be cloned, by the way, you can find a cloner, and even some of the big box stores that will clone a card. But if you want to get away from that, we do have locks on the Alarm Lock side, the Trilogies and the Architects that can read iClass. Okay. So we can read those. That's a higher encrypted card. Our MyFair card at the moment only works with our new wireless deadbolt. Okay. Of course, you can get a MyFair reader that will read it as well if you have panels to go on a panel. But our new wireless deadbolts, okay, present the card and you unlock the deadbolt. Okay. So that is coming as well, but that works with MVP access. Okay. That deadbolt does. Um, So we do have several different formats that are preset for you, but you can add whatever format as long as you know all of the required information. Okay, so if you have a new format, you have to know, the format type, what partition group you're going to put it in, the bit length, the offset for the badge ID, facility code, and issue, the parity, and all of that. So if you're familiar with how cards are made, and if a customer has a specific card, then you can use that. You would probably have to use all panels, but you can use their card. Okay. Now, a lot of people ask, facility codes. Right now, I'm not using facility codes. Okay. But we can make it to where you have to use facility codes. You just click on add and then put your facility code in one of the 10 blocks. Okay. So let's say I put in 19, which is the facility code for our locks, and I apply it to our entry door, which I have, or the employee entrance, which I have here on the table. Okay. And I hit save. Now, any badge that goes to that lock, the card number has to match, the badge type has to match, and the facility code has to match. If not, card won't work. Okay. So again, most of you are probably familiar with facility code, so I don't want to go too deep into it, but I can set it up on a lock by lock basis. It doesn't have to be, through all of the locks in the system. Okay. Um, if you are familiar with DO Windows, okay, and you've discovered wireless locks and before, you will see that this is going to be fairly similar. Okay, so we go to configuration, wireless configuration. We have our gateways here. You notice I have a mobile link lock, which is my interconnected lock that I just showed you, the wireless deadbolt. But I have my gateway here. I have two locks on it. Here's one thing that's a little bit different. You notice it tells you a signal strength as well as a term. So it can be excellent signal or good. You want to keep all your wireless locks in the excellent or good. So if I click on Discover Locks, you see that we have the chart down here for your signal strength. So the same network signal meter and network signal generator um, that you use for DO windows and networks, we want to use here. Okay. So we want to keep it in the good or excellent range. So you're looking at probably low 40s and higher. The fair, and if you notice the descriptions of the different terms here, excellent, optimal, good, fully acceptable, fair, usable, but occasional signal loss is possible. Poor, intermittent communication not recommended. So you want to keep your signal strength in the good to excellent range. Okay. Because you want to be able to communicate. Again, this is real time. Okay. We have real time events. We have, notifications. We have all of that, and we need that communication. If the signal is poor, you're not going to get that notification. Okay. But to discover your locks, you just go in and you tell it how many locks you want to discover, just like DO Windows, and discover locks. Okay. So it's going to go through this, around, it's going to check for, I told it 5 locks. Okay. So it will come back and tell you, well, I only found 4 or I only found 2 or however many it is, or you found 5. You don't know, but it will tell you what you have found. Okay. And then I may not find any for me. Then you have your signal strength. You have your lock type, which is the different type of lock that you have, whether a gateway or an expander discovered that device. Okay. Still has the serial number. Okay. So make sure you keep those yellow cards. If you're familiar with the cards that come with the locks, they're yellow. So you want to make sure that you have those and you write down where that lock is located so you have the serial number. So I only found 2, but they're both acceptable. Okay. So I've got another deadbolt, and I have a PDL 6200. Okay, so both of these are wireless locks. I don't have an expander, but if an expander had found it, it would show, which expander actually discovered and had the best signal strength. I use expanders. Okay, expanders are an exceptional tool to help you get more locks on a gateway. You're going to have up to 63 locks that you can have on a single gateway communicating to it. Um, I found 2. I've probably got more locks that are a little bit further away and would, it's not able to talk to them. But if I, had an expander on this gateway, it may have found another lock or 2. Okay. So just put a check mark in the boxes, put it into the partition groups you want. So if you want the lock to work with the mobile app, it needs to be in the mobile partition. Then just click Add Locks. Now it will go through, it will update the firmware to those locks to work with MVP access. And other than that, there's really not a whole lot other than, a few configuration items that you would need to set up. But now all you have to do is go in and start adding badges. Okay. You will have to have your access group set up. Okay. So we have an all door access group that is automatically set up. Okay. So I've added a few more, but your all door access group has all your doors in it. So you see that I've got, my 8 doors here and they all have a 24/7 schedule. My ABC company work week, I only have 2 locks, the front door and the employee entrance. The ones uh, that are not expanded, they're not on this in this access group. Okay. So you just add whatever schedule to whatever doors and name the access group, and it's there. Then you can go into personnel. Okay. So um, this is where you would start adding your PIN numbers, your badges, things like that. Um, we do have an import. Okay, we have an import capability. So there's a specific file that you use to import, and that is under the help menu. Okay, it tells you what your fields are in your CSV or your Excel spreadsheet saved as a CSV. Also, I'll pull it up a little bit bigger. So you see that we have field A is facility codes, B is badge number or PIN, last name, first name, and then you have your different access groups. Okay. So you have up to 16 different access groups that you can assign. If you want someone to be in access group 1, then you put a 1 under E. Access group 2, a 2 under F. 3, 4, 5, so forth. Okay. There's a whole lot more fields. There are 132 fields that you can have in here. Two-factor PIN. But we do have a template that you can download that will walk you through that. Okay. So once you click on the file to import, it will pull all that information in, and then you just click download, and it brings all of that information into your personnel. Okay. Yes, Tim.
Yeah, do you have a group for personnel? Like I've got different personnel in this building. They all work in one office of this building. So I want to give all those people the same access. And when I change their access, I just want to be able to change it for the whole group, like CA4 has.
Um, I would have to look at that and check on that. I'm not aware of this having the ability to uh, highlight multiple people and then change a group, change their group status all at once. I'll look into that. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. Got a question here that I missed. So give me just a second. Oh, I've got three. What do the threat level numbers signify? Andrew, that's I can have multiple threat levels. So it's just 1 through however many I have. You can change the name of that. I'll show you that in a little bit. Will the phone app eventually allow full control over the system like you have in the web browser? Seems like the app is really good for adding fobs, manually unlocking doors through manual control. I'm going to show you the app. So again, for a user to be able to use the MVP Access app, they have to be assigned um, as um, an operator. Okay. So as an operator, they have a login, and they also have a privilege role. So which would be the mobile privileges. So for a basic user, all they're going to be able to do is unlock the doors that they have access to. As an administrator, such as myself, I could go in and I have everything. I can view the event log. I can add, remove badges. I can make several changes, but I'll show you the app here in just a few minutes. Is the DVR feature only available for NAPCO branded DVRs? No, there are others. Check with your local rep, whether it's a NAPCO Access Pro, Alarm Lock, or Marks USA rep. All of them, will be able to get you that information. I know Video Insight and I think GANs are two right off the top of my head. Um, I'm not sure about any of the others at the moment. Okay. All right. Okay. So, about personnel, um, first name, last name need to put in there, a PIN number or badge number. If you're using facility codes, then you would need to put that in. And now this is not the actual facility code. So let me go over here to this one, make sure. No, wrong 1072416. That's that one. So because I added a facility code to this particular lock, this card says it's not used, but I need to put in the number one. There's only 10 options for facility code, right? And that's the 10 boxes that we put the facility codes in. Okay, box number one, two, three, whatever. So this is facility number one. If you're using a two-factor PIN, which is a PIN and card, then you would put that card, that PIN number for card and PIN in the two-factor PIN. If you're using only a PIN number, it would go in the badge/PIN only. Add them to the partition groups, the calendars, if they have a holiday calendar, access time. This is big. I told you about the access time for the lock. That's, 3 seconds, whatever you want to make it. If this individual needs more time, such as an ADA application, then you can change the access time for this one badge or multiple badges if you want to. But for this badge, you could change that to 10 seconds to give them time to get from the reader to pull the door open. Maybe 3 seconds is too fast. We have an activation and an expiration date. Okay, so I can activate this badge in the future and I can have it expire. Okay, so in my experience, say you have a homeowners association, I'm just throwing an example out there, and everybody, um, the pool season ends on Labor Day. Okay, so you have everybody's badge expire on Labor Day at whatever time. So you don't have to worry about people getting into the pool. And then come back and you, for next year, activate their badge and then set the expiration date up if you want to do that. Or if this is a temporary employee or whatever it is, new employee, they've gone through their hiring process, you give them their ID and their badge, but you have it activate Monday when their first day of work is. Okay. We do have a badge use limit as well, so you can limit the number of times that the badge is actually used. Um, Maybe a contractor or whatever the case is. You could use the activation expiration for them as well. We have up to 16 different access groups, as I mentioned, and we have an activation date and an expiration date for the access group. So this is handy, say for you've got maybe at the end of the year into your fiscal year, you do inventory, and everybody's coming in on a Saturday. Well, you don't want them coming in every Saturday, so you assign them an access group for Saturday, whatever Sunday, whatever it is, and then you have it activate and expire for that one weekend. Okay. So you set it up, you forget it. You don't have to worry about it. Okay. Now, under control, this is our threat level badge category. Somebody asked, what is the category number for? That's just what we name it, but you can go in and change the name of that threat level. So you see I have all doors, exterior and interior. So I've got three threat levels and three lockdowns areas. So maybe we just want to do the exterior doors. Okay, so I have a category for that. What this section does is if I am allowed this individual is allowed to open the doors during that threat level activation, just check the box. Maybe, they're only allowed if it's just the exterior doors. Okay, so that might be a soft, just a precautionary, something's happened, an active shooter in the county. Well, maybe you don't want your doors unlocked and somebody can just walk in. So you activate an exterior door threat level. Okay, so only certain people can come in or whatever. Um, but this person would be one of those. Okay. Um, these are some of the additional features, and let me do this here. Some of the additional features that we have for the badges, I can track the badge. This can be an escorted badge. This badge can be a supervisor. It can be first in control, which is your first person in. Okay. Um, you can have this badge disable common code. So if you want to disable this lock for common code, the PIN numbers, you can do that with the badge. Or, as I mentioned, each lock can be set up for a double read, but it is badge activated, specific badge activated. So if I want this individual to be able to do that, then I just enable double read for them. Okay. So there's a lot of features that we have with this software. Okay. For those that may not be familiar, a sub badge, that's basically just you've created a badge for somebody, and but you also want to have maybe as a backup for them a PIN number. So basic or another badge or whatever. Just add sub badge, basically clones that individual so you can add with all of their access groups, all of their information already set up, but with a second badge. Maybe they, uh, left their badge at home. They come into HR. HR gives them another badge for the day. Whatever the case is, they can add a sub badge and not have to go through the entire process of what access groups did you have? What all did, it just clones it so where you can put in a second badge. Okay. We also have a batch create. Okay. So what is a batch create? It's kind of like import badges, okay, where we're importing the names, but the batch create allows me to take a badge or PIN number range. Wouldn't want to do it with pins, but a badge, say a box of cards. Okay. So box of cards, it's 100 cards, all in numerical order. I go ahead and add them in, with maybe no access. So if in case one of the cards grows legs and walks away, somebody can't use it to get into all the doors. But you just put in the, maybe new badge as the name, and it creates all of those badges. Okay. So you don't have to put them all in, one at a time. You can do a batch create, throw in 100 badges, and then when they're handed out, then you change the name on it and give them their access. Okay. Um, that's the basics of the system other than lockdown. We do have lockdown control. We do have lockdown capabilities. So I've got my 3 lockdown areas here. Again, lockdown just locks doors that are in an unlock mode. Threat level, that actually denies or allows certain credentials to open the door during that threat level activation. So you may have or may be familiar with, threat level 1 through 5, 5 being the highest, the most restrictive. That's, same thing here, but you can name it whatever you want. Okay. So if I wanted to activate a lockdown, I click on the lockdown control and I click on the area, and it will send that command out to those doors. Now, doors 1 through 5 that I have labeled door 1 through 5, they're not going to go into lockdown because they're not connected. But um, so I've got my door here on the table, you will see, you'll see there as it flashes, there it goes. So we're in a lockdown. Okay. So it's still trying to execute those five, which it's not going to do because they're not connected. So it says failed. Okay. So, um, you know, that's how you do it. Now I can lock down from the mobile app as well if I have the capabilities or the privileges. So if I open up my app here, wrong app, it's gonna if I open up my app, oh, wrong one, what in the world? I changed my, I got too many. There we go. So I open up my app, you can see the doors that I'm assigned to. They're all listed there. Okay. I've got my lockdown areas, my threat levels. I've got manual control. So if I have the privileges, I could actually unlock doors or activate relays manually if I wanted to. Sorry about the fuzzy. Add, remove personnel, makes changes, scheduled changes. So maybe I have a door that is in a or that has a scheduled passage mode, but not on Saturday. But we're going to be open this Saturday, so I can put in a schedule change for that one day to unlock the door. I can set up my different notification messages. Okay, I can add, remove. So I've got a duress, manual unlock, and a low battery. Okay. Those are the notifications that I have set up, but I can change those in the app. And then, of course, oops, wrong one. Live events. You can see all of the events. You can see we went into a lockdown. Okay. So that's that. Oh, it also shows you down in the bottom right-hand corner, it says LD active. We are in a lockdown. Okay. Let me go back over here and take it out of lockdown. And when it comes out of lockdown, you'll see that LD active go away. Okay. So this is a really nice app. Um, has a lot of functionality to it. If you are given privileges, if you are only mobile privilege, like most, daily employees, or, regular employees, they won't have all this. All they'll have is my doors, okay? The doors that they are able to unlock, okay? Now you can adjust their privileges to where maybe they do have lockdown and threat level. So see, it says system normal now. Um, maybe you change or create a new mobile privilege that allows them to lock down and issue threat levels. Um, you know, whatever you want them to be able to do. So here's one of my Bluetooth locks, okay, the N95. I just hit Bluetooth and it should chirp here in just a second. Oh, unable to connect. Maybe I'm too far away from it. Okay. That's one app. We have the iLock app. Um, all I do is open the app. I don't have to log into it. And then it's a little bit different. See if it's, yep, I'm not allowed. Okay. But you can see that all I do is open the app, tap unlock on the particular lock, and um, don't know why I'm not allowed on this one, but anyway. So that's the Bluetooth app. Okay. The other app, MVP Access app, like I said, you have to log in. You have to be an operator as well as a badge holder because you have to have locks assigned to you. So all I do is log in, see my doors. I hit the unlock on the front door. I'll hear it click, maybe. There it goes. Heard it click. So it's not Bluetooth. Okay. I want you to understand that this mobile app, the MVP Access app, is not Bluetooth. Okay. It goes through the cloud to the gateway and then to the lock. Okay. So it did unlock. I heard it click. I heard it unlock, but it's still showing that it's trying to unlock the door. Okay. Um, but it is not Bluetooth for you to be able to, you know, be very, really quick. Okay. So let me come back over here real quick. Okay. I want to open it up real quick to any questions. That's, I mean, we do have activity links, we've got relays, we've got all of those things that you would normally see with, panels. Um, a normal panel that would have, uh, you know, uh, a link of some kind or a relay that can activate an automatic opener or whatever it is you want it to do. So with MVP Access, we have the if this then do this, that type of activity link. So we can have a button on a wall that if this button go into a panel to that input, if this happens, then issue a threat level, or whatever the case is. So you can do lockdown in multiple ways, not just through the cloud or through the web page or through the phone app, but you can actually have buttons on the wall if you want it. So I want to ask before I move to the last topic real quick, any questions? Anybody have any questions about the basics of MVP access? Okay. Yes, Will. I don't see where I can unmute your microphone. I don't know if you have one.
Oh, I think that was me. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yep, I got you.
Okay, so I was asking, is there any planned upgrade or update for the app that will, hold on one second.
Yep, got the feedback.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
You must have somebody else in the room with you.
we do.
Okay.
Okay, that works. All right. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Is there a planned upgrade or update for the app that will allow the customer, or I guess the dealer in this case, to add or subtract readers, panels, access groups, schedules? Because currently it seems like the only changes we can make that would be considered administrative are unlocking doors manually and adding and deleting fobs, including signed in under the admin operator.
Right. I think they're going to leave that as far as adding locks and readers and all of that. I think they're going to leave that as a web item.
Okay.
I don't. I mean, I don't know how they would fit, if I wanted to add a reader, well, now I have to be able to go in. Number one, I have to discover if it's a wireless lock, I have to discover the lock, have to add the lock,
Right.
all of that to be able to add a reader. I understand
Sure.
what you're saying as far as maybe on a panel, I want to add, a second reader to that panel.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's going to be left as a web item.
Okay, that makes sense. Is there any difference between the MVP Access phone app and the MVP EZ phone
Ooh,
app?
that's where I'm headed next. So yeah,
Oh, okay.
you'll be able to see that.
Perfect.
That's a good segue. Okay. I appreciate
Great.
that segue. Um, so What what he's talking about is we actually have a second option for you. Okay. MVP access. There's pretty much no limit on badges. There's tens of thousands of doors that you can put on it, just like you can with CA4K or an enterprise solution. What we did is, and I know, I don't know if there's any locksmiths, locking hardware guys on with me today, or if it's just all access control guys. But what we did is we took the same backbone that we have for MVP access. And we made it to where now we can do MVP EZ, which is all phone app based. Okay. It's a locksmith friendly system. Okay. So it's app only, limited functionality, and we'll cover what that is. 50 doors max. 200 badges max. You only have 8 access groups per account, 2 max per badge, 4 time schedules, and it's card or PIN only. Okay. And the wireless deadbolt works with this as well. So what we did is we used the same credentials to log into MVP EZ that you would for MVP access. Okay. It's just a different app. It's the same credentials. We have it to where you can do a new dealer registration, and test it out if you want to. If you're already an MVP access dealer, you wouldn't be able to get that. But, um, it's really easy. This is the home screen for the dealer login. Okay. So you have your people, your credentials, doors, hardware, access, reports, and then you can go back to your customer list. Okay. All of the hardware, wireless locks, the NA1, NA2 panels, the wireless deadbolt, net panel, all of these will have a QR code that you will be able to use and register the unit or the device. So let's see if I can get it to focus here. A little bit better. So it will come with a sticker, okay, on the card, on that yellow card that will have a QR code on it. Okay. So with that QR code, when I go to hardware, and I'll open up the app. I thought I had some more pictures here. But when you go to hardware, come on. There we go. Switch back over to camera. So this is the app, right? So when I go into hardware, I click on add. I can either scan the QR code or add the hardware in manually. If I add it manually, I have to tell it, is it a panel? Is it a wireless lock? Is it a mobile link lock? Or is it a gate or is it a gateway? Okay. So the wireless lock, you have to know, the lock ID number, what type of lock it is, okay, and then what gateway it's going on. Okay, so just click Add Device, and it will add the device into your list. So if you notice, this is the same account that I had open on the on the web. Okay. So I have my interconnected lock here. That's a device. Okay. But I want to go to doors. So I'll click on doors down here at the bottom. Oh, where'd my doors go? Okay. Lost my doors. Got a problem. Um, but so I could go in if I could see my doors. I could go in, tap on the door, and it would unlock. Okay. So the interconnected is in this case is mobile link. what that means is by mobile link, well, there it went, is the phone is actually my gateway. Okay. That's what's talking to the cloud, my phone. I don't have to have any infrastructure as far as gateways, network capabilities, anything like that. As long as my phone can get to the cloud, then I could, well, now there it goes. Oh, no. My phone is my communication device to the cloud. Okay. Oh, why does it keep doing that? So you see, I've got my three gateways here. I've got my locks. Okay. So I've got everything on the phone. Um, but 50 doors max. Okay. So everybody would need to be a mobile user. So I click on credentials and then I add a user. Okay. And then if I want them to be a mobile user using the phone, I just check the box. I give them a user ID and a password. I can make them an administrator to where they can see everything that I see as the dealer. Okay. Um, if not, then they're just going to be a mobile user. They only see their doors. Okay. And then it creates a credential for you. You can add more, such as a regular badge, and I can use it to lock and unlock the doors. Okay. So I can do card or um, or mobile app. Okay. There's also some settings. So you set your time zone. If you want to use facility code, that's why. Um, that's why my phone didn't work. I can enable lockdown through the phone, okay, through the app. So if I hit save, now you see the slide at the top. Slide it to the right, it activates lockdown. Okay. And if I slide, it'll go to a different shade. I slide it back to the left to take it out of lockdown. Now, the lockdown does not affect the mobile link locks, only those that are on gateways. Okay. Um, reports, there's only three. Okay. Events, that's your lock events, downloads, unlocks, things like that. Your audit trail is going to be um, logins, things like that. And then you have your personnel report, which, you would be able to get a list of your personnel. But that's it. Okay. That's all there is for um, MVP access. Okay. So just as kind of a recap on this, MVP access is your enterprise level, full blown CA4K with everything capable. MVP EZ, limited numbers of locks, okay? 50 doors, period. 200 badges, period. So this is going to be more for your small to maybe medium-sized customers. Um, so, again, really easy. You get the card, the lock with the QR code, scan the code, it adds the lock in. Add your badges, add your access groups, your schedules, and that's pretty much it. Okay. There's really not a whole lot of functionality with EZ. But like I said, it uses the same backbone. Oh, wrong one. Okay. So if I go to wireless, it logged me out because I logged into the other app. Um, Same locks. Okay. Same readers. I had 8. Well, it shows 9. It's because this front door is actually a net panel. It has 2 readers capable. Okay, so I'm not using the second reader. I could have it set up for an out reader if I wanted to do that. Okay, I've got an in reader and an out reader, but I'm not using the out reader, the second reader. So I've got 8 doors. Same 8 doors I had on the MVP EZ app. Same backbone. Okay. I want you to be aware of that. Okay. I'm going to look questions. Hope that answered your questions, Will.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I have any other questions about easy or access? Yes,
Actually,
Andrew.
yes.
Yeah, hang on. Yeah, go ahead, Will. I'll get to you in a second, Andrew.
Sorry,
Go ahead,
sorry
Will.
about that, Andrew. So yeah, quick question. I saw that when you logged into the MVP Access online, on the web through the web browser,
Mhm.
you were able to select any one of your sites that you guys had control of, any one of those accounts. How do we get an account like that? Because currently, we only have the first customer. We're kind of implementing this, and this is why we're part of this training right now.
Right.
This is brand new implementation for us. And currently, we just have the one account number for the one customer, and inside of that customer's account, we have 2 operators: an admin operator and the customer's operator that I created for them.
Right.
What's the process of getting uh, getting an account to where you can see all of your customers like you can right there?
You just add more customers. You create, you
Oh,
add, these are all our, I'm the administrator for the rep account for all of their accounts. So these are
sure.
all of our reps. So I created a different account, it's like, ABC company, CDE company, and XYZ company. Those would be 3 different customers of mine. So I would have 3 different lines here, each one
Gotcha.
with a unique username and account number.
Okay. So then if I were to, because currently I am actually on my screen logged into this customer's account,
Mhm.
but just under the operator of admin, the default credential there. Um, if I
Well,
just click login,
just real quick, when you log in through your credentials, you're not logging in as them. You're logging in under your credentials and you have full admin rights. Okay.
oh,
So even
so
if you're
so
even if your customer could log in and
mhm,
they wouldn't know you were in there unless they saw some changes.
sure. So then are you saying, because currently we only have this one account number,
Mhm.
um, and we have set this account up for a customer of ours. Are you saying that we essentially need another account specifically for our company, Surveillance Secure, to be able to
No,
monitor?
no,
Okay.
no. So this is my demo that I have here in my office, the one with my name on it. I've got 2
Okay.
more because I'm a trainer that I send around the country. So I could log into those.
Sure.
And I mean, all I'm doing, well, you see the little arrow here. There's apparently some new firmware that needs to be downloaded. It will tell you that. It tells me it's a gateway. So my
Okay.
gateway for that system needs to be at new firmware updated to it. But when I log in, I'm logging in to that customer's account, but I'm still as me. So I have full blown privileges. So your customer, because we do have roles and privileges, your
Hmm.
customer you may not have given them all the privileges. They're going to have the
No.
main
Yeah,
privileges.
correct.
Okay. So they're going to have certain things that are available to them, and then you can take privileges away from them if you wanted to. So
Gotcha.
if you didn't want them to have access to the configuration, which is all of that,
Mm-hmm.
you just click on it and then
Yeah.
take it
We played
away.
with that. Yeah, we played that with that yesterday and made it so that way they could only ever add, delete badges and all
Right.
that very low level stuff. But okay, so
Right.
so you're saying that as soon as we add, we essentially buy a second account. Um, Whenever we go to the MVP Access online site and we sign
It'll
in,
show up. Yep.
it will show up. Okay. Okay.
Or even on the app. If you log
Oh, right.
into even if you log into the app, the MVP Access app, it will
Mhm.
show you the list of the customers.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
then you can
Okay.
log into that particular one.
Makes sense. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Okay, Andrew, sorry.
Hey, no worries. So I am a locksmith slash hardware guy, and
Yep.
can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. So as a locksmith slash hardware guy, not a question about MVP access, but I'm curious about the wireless deadbolt, that interconnected lock. In the event of an electronics failure or battery outage, is there a secondary mechanical override? I see the two nubbins on the bottom that you could jump it with a 9-volt.
Yep.
But beyond that, let's say if the whole thing took a dump, I mean, am I just taking a hole saw and blowing through the front face of that thing?
Pretty much.
Okay.
They did not put a key override on this lock specifically for I don't know what reason, but for some particular reason. This one apparently is the interconnected version.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when I turn the inside lever, like most of us know, it retracts the deadbolt.
Yeah, it's got the single motion egress.
Yeah, single motion egress. So you can get it as just the deadbolt if you want.
Mm-hmm.
You can get it interconnected, or you can get it not interconnected with the passage trim to match.
Huh. Interesting.
So
Okay.
we have the three versions, three options.
But there's no trim version that uses a key override. It's just purely the way it's set up right now. That's the only version for the deadbolt aspect.
That is correct at this moment.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep. And like I said, the deadbolt can be used with easy. It can be used with access. It can be put onto a gateway, or it can be a mobile link lock where, like I said, you're using your phone as your, as your infrastructure for uploading and downloading data to the lock. Okay. Anybody else have a question? Yes, Tim.
Yeah, can you add another card to the NA2 and put 4 doors on that panel like you can the Super 2, or is it strictly a 2-door panel?
Strictly a 2-door panel. Strictly a 2-door panel. So if you wanted to, you could use the Super 2 and add the card to it, and that would make it a 4-door. Or you could use two NA2s if you want, or I'm sorry, you would have to use two NA2s to do the. There's not an added card like there is with the legacy hardware for CA4K.
Okay. Is the NA2 cheaper than the Super 2?
I don't know pricing. As far as I know, I don't think it's in distribution yet. If it is, there's only one or two across the country that have it. But that if you needed to expand, you would have to add a second panel. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Dave. You're muted, Dave.
There we go. Actually, I had a question. We currently use Air Access, and then my question was, how are those related, or is it possible to switch to MVP or?
Oh, good question. So for those that may not be aware, we do have another system out. It's called Air Access, which is cloud-based. It does not use your traditional IT network. It uses a cellular radio for the network capabilities. The hardware, the locks, are the same. I can take, which I have done here, I can take an Air Access lock and convert it over to MVP Access. Basically, it's the same firmware. Okay. Air Access uses a limited version of CA4K. So we're pretty much using the same firmware. The gateway is what would have to be changed. The Air Access gateway is specific to Air Access, so you would have to change the gateway. But if you have Air Access, you have capabilities through ComNet to go ahead and set up an MVP. You don't have to be re-registered to do MVP. Does that
All right,
answer your
thank you.
question?
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you.